We're here at Media Club Room's Value Train podcast, where we're wrapping up a year of goodness. And Yvonne, you've done so much good this year. Today, we're going to turn the spotlight on Yvonne Siow. So, Yvonne, welcome.
Thank you, Dawn.
So you've had quite an eventful 2024. You've not stopped at all this year. So to just wrap up what she's done this year, from concluding an impactful journey with Presenter, to earning 5 gold awards for your contributions for social work, launching Glass Dome this year, a space bigger and better dedicated to playing for good. It's been nothing short of inspiring. So Yvonne, when you think about this year, what's your favourite memory so far?
I guess it's really the people, right? Like so many people rally, like yourself, right? I mean, you've been with us since day one and still continues to support us. I think if there's one thing that we are very grateful for, super appreciative, it's all our friends and families that come together and being very, very tight-knit about this whole entire journey.
What's like a core memory? If you had to pick one favourite memory, I'm sure like one sticks out to you.
We are Playpen, right? We're a social movement that champions play and do good. So if it's one thing, we never stop playing. Like the minute we wake up, we think of how we're going to get through the day with playing. And at the end of the day, we think that, okay, let's play more together. So I think that's one thing that constantly keeps us very, very excited.
So you've been heading Siow Foundation for many, many years, right? And I'm sure it held a very special place in your heart. So what was with the shift to leaving for good and channeling all the energy into Playpen? What makes Playpen so special?
Siow Luxottica will always be a very dear part of me, right? But Peace Center, Playpen started off as really a passion project with my bestie, Gary Hong. It sort of have a life of its own. So, when it sort of ended, we gathered so many of these human impact stories, right? Of people succeeding in their thrift stores, the graffiti artists, they're being recognized and they receive commission pieces. This really gave us a strong indication that something like that, right? It's unnecessary for Singapore, for our youth, for our gig economy guys, and even for our seniors, because it gives them a purpose to get out of the house, right? And to be in the community of people who wants to give their time, talent, effort, testimony, and trust. So I think something like that, it's really once in a lifetime, is such a unique opportunity. I really don't want to miss this for the world. Yeah.
Right. So when one thinks about Singapore, you think about the buildings, right? Or the food, or like the economy, how like everything's super shiny. When you think of Singapore, no one really thinks about play, right? So why play, and why is play so important to the community in Singapore?
First of all, my bestie, right, it's a super fun fella, right? He's the owner and the innovator of this car vending machine building.
Right.
Like, whoever thinks of putting car in a vending machine in a building? I mean, this is absolutely nuts, right? But of course, it takes somebody so visionary and so crazy to come up with something like that. But if you apply this innovation to the social sector, for example, I think this is the exact entrepreneurial spirit that we really, really need. Resources are limited, our time is very finite. But if we layer something that we all enjoy and that we have in us, this childlike energy to play, and in the process we learn so much, we innovate so much, and it gives us the energy to solve a lot of problems, whether consciously or unconsciously. So I think, we want to champion this very latent social energy that we feel has the power to solve all these problems that we're facing today in our society, challenges and gaps in the world that we are living in. Yeah.
When you speak about championing for the social good, right? When you started Playpen, did you think people would ever be so creative? Because it's not a core characteristic in a Singaporean. Did you ever think it would be what it is now?
You are absolutely right, Dawn. We honestly designed this thing, right, to be super agile, right? Because we are dealing with the human spirit. So, we know that we are onto something, but in fact, we spend almost 3 to 4 hours every day calibrating, recalibrating, designing, and redesigning, because like what Gary likes to say, this is so omakase, right? It's the Japanese phrase for, you find the best of ingredients, the freshest of ingredients. So with that, you are able to harness the best of people. We have the artists, the creative, the musicians, the blockchain, and so on and so forth. So can you imagine, it's people after people after people of, unleashing their energy and their creativity. I think that is what this whole movement is all about.
I think that's so beautiful because I've seen hundreds of people play through Playpen, and when we speak about unleashing people's creativity, essentially it's unleashing their potential for play. Has there ever been anyone or any collective that surprised you? Like, what's your favorite memory of play?
I think one of the founders for Diplomat, right? His name is Iqbal. So Iqbal was a graffiti artist, right? And after we got to know him so well, we began to hear his story. In fact, during that time, before he sort of became a part of Peace Center, he and Arai, the other co-founder, was at the verge of literally just giving up, this art practice movement of theirs, right? Because, we all know, right? It's close to impossible being a creative and artist in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
Like, you always have to take a full-time job, and when you have half an ounce of energy left, after your day's job, then you go into your art. So I think at that stage when we met, we didn't know that he was really at the brink of just giving up. And we got connected. He loved the vision, he loved the freedom of this space, and they came in wholeheartedly. Like, they were literally camping out of that space, right? And of course, they created, I think probably, one of the first graffiti workshops in Singapore, and it was, like chock-a-block, fully taken up like week after week, and people are like waiting on a waiting list. And the beautiful part about this is that they had this spirit to pay it forward. They benefited from, this whole movement. And after they made themselves into really a media sensation, you just, Google them. They are being commissioned by Adidas. They've done works for Volkswagen. They travel with Royal Caribbeans on international water and painted, in front of huge audiences. But they never forgot to really give back. And, during their last days there, they put together an exhibition for 15 artists, half of which they knew, and they wanted them to enjoy these kind of accessibility of spaces and freedom that they experienced themselves. And they found the other half from Peace Center. They go around, they speak to people with the same energy, they like their vibe, they put them together. So 15 people came together and did this last show. And of course, it was resounding success. And of course, Mayor Denise Phua, her spirit and her big heart of giving and doing good is just amazing. So she gave us an opportunity to partner up with them at her monthly iteration that she did at Arts Everywhere with NAC. So every month they will be at Toa Payoh Hub, right, to bring arts everywhere to the communities. So when we went to Iqbal and his community and we said, hey, we have this opportunity, Toa Payoh Hub, every day, like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people probably, walk through that bus terminal. So can you imagine we could do this extension of what you've done with Peace Center, and we turn up again in full force? And like within seconds, we came up with this beautiful brand called Art Paka, coming out from that animal alpaca. It's just that, we changed the front, and then we wanted to enable the arts community. So
why the alpaca?
Oh, because we had another crazy China friends that says, I have a alpaca farm, so I want to, maybe give you guys some alpaca, bring it to Singapore. And, we like the fact that they literally like to lick you and like spit in your face, right? So, we like to spit goodness in your face, and we're playful. So it's into its 5th month of iteration, and every month 20 creators are being showcased to the public.
Did you ever foresee for something as unconventional as play in Singapore that the spirit of giving back would be something that came out of it?
I mean, when we first started, to call ourselves Playpen, and then we go around telling people that we champion play and do good, like besides our friends, like very few people understood, right? And then they said, oh, it's never gonna work, right? Because Singapore is so serious, nobody plays, right?
Right.
So we said, okay, anyway, we don't know what we don't know, so we'll just dive head in and just call ourselves Playpen. And pan is where, we love to cook, we love to eat, right? You just throw all your ingredients of good.
And Singapore's like rojak as well.
Yeah, just
right.
rojak, right? And we like to eat all the time, so we call ourselves Playpen. And after that Peace Center, with so many media publications and blah, 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 then we start to see play popping up everywhere. State of play, play lab, play this, play that. And we like to think that, we are the grandfather and grandmothers, who actually perhaps, gave everybody this tinge of hope that, hey, maybe Singapore is playful after all, maybe we can channel this play energy for the better good. And I think with everybody's help, we probably moved the needle just a little bit on that.
That's so nice because, that's what you want basically, for the needle to move, right? So when you think about your journey so far, I'm pretty sure it has been not easy. Peace Center was crazy, but I think if there's a lesson to be learned out of it, because I'm pretty sure there are people who's gonna step up and want to be like you, or want to be like Gary, right? Or want to build a pen for themselves, right? So what is one lesson you think you've learned out of this journey so far?
I think there's so many lessons, right? Because this is almost like some 30 years of work, right? All compressed and condensed into a very, very short time. But if I can, think of one thing, it's really perseverance. We need to be able to persevere through good times and bad times. And when an idea that's so crazy and so big that it literally scares you, that's where we need to really huddle, right? That's why, friends like yourself and like all of you come together and just lend the support, right? Each of us are talented in ways that we all sometimes surprise ourselves, right? Like your videography skills, right? Your skills for storytelling, even your skills of, how you can tease on all these topics out, right? And make it so fun and exciting that people want to...
Stop it! I'm shy.
But it's true, right? You see? So, we are all so shy about, what we are good at, right? Because...
It's a Singaporean thing, it's an Asian thing.
It's an Asian humility thing,
yeah,
right?
What's up with that? Like, what's your experience so far with like the Singaporean humility? Do you think that it stops us from unleashing play?
No shit!
Our first swear word of the year!
I think our Asian bloodline lineage, right? Our parents always tell us, you cannot be like that. Yeah. You gotta say, no. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. But I think we need to give ourselves permission, right? To say, hey, I've tried so hard and I'm actually good. Of course, there's always room for improvements, right? That's why we encourage each other. But sometimes we got to just pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, I am good enough. All of us can be number one in that things that we are good at. And we begin to recognize this. I think that's where play flourishes. And that's where creativity thrives. And that's where, as a society, we begin to see a lot of innovations because we allow ourselves. This space is already a very difficult space, so we need to be able to put the naysayers outside of the ring. And I think now our ring is getting bigger and broader by the day.
It's interesting that you talk about naysayers. Has there been any naysayers in your journey
Oh,
so
no
far?
shit, man. Like,
What kind of naysayers? What do they say?
Like, you're gonna quit your job? What are you gonna eat on? Like, what are you gonna feed on? You're gonna take glass dome? It's so huge. Nobody dares to take it for 6 years, and you guys, crazy enough. Peace Center, it's a 400,000 square feet mall. It hasn't been upkept properly for 50 years, and you guys are so crazy enough to do this. I think out of 10 person that we meet, like 9 tells you no. So can you imagine if you don't persevere, you don't talk to the 10th person, you'll never get there, right? Because the first 9 will always tell you no. But imagine if you are doing a very big project, right? 100 people project or 1,000 people. You need to get through that 999 no before you come to that handful of people. But that handful is your tribe. It's the one that's going to propel you forward. And it's crazy enough to band together and do big stuff.
Actually, just now you gave me like quite motherly advice. So, when you think about in Singapore, even if you think about a woman, a playful woman isn't something that comes to mind. And you have daughters on your own. What you're doing, do you want to inspire them to say, hey, if mom can do it, you can do it too? Because I see them stepping up. Even though they're so young. How old are your daughters?
18 and 20.
They're like babies, right? I think it's quite inspiring for them to see their mother being unconventional and to see their tribe, the tribe behind their mom. For them to recognize that community is important, finding family outside is important. Do you see that ripple effect in them?
I mean, for sure, like every day, and I think it really cuts both ways. Like, I'm inspired by their courage, right? Their fearlessness, right? And I think they think that, I'm a very bougie mom, like a hippie mom, right? So I think it really cuts both ways because, as we grow up, right, we have so much inhibitions, right? And we keep thinking and limiting ourselves, right? But if you look at kids, right, they have no fear. I think at some point in time, we need to reclaim this thing if we are going to be founders, if you want to be entrepreneurs, if you want to be the next award-winning filmmakers, because you are going to a place that nobody has done that. I'm lucky I hang out with young people like you. I hang out with my kids, right? I remember there were moments where I say, hey, this is getting so big, right? I'm so exhausted every day. I cannot do this, okay? And she point blank look at me and then she tells me, hey, mom, you choose this. So suck it up, mom, right? And when you suck it up, you realize, hey, that day is not that bad. And when you have a good sleep, you have a glass of wine, maybe two, some good food, right? And then some nagging from Gary Hong. Then I realize, hey, gosh, it's not that bad, because that problem that I think I cannot solve, I probably have 5 other resources from like all of you, who have resources and we're in this together. So I think the beautiful part is young, old, don't care, right? When we are together in this journey, we all sign on to help each other. So every day, I think it's a new discovery, but we just need to allow ourselves be in that tribe and give ourselves that permission to fail fast, but fail forward. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Failing forward. For a project as big as Peace Center or Glass Dome, when you talk about giving up, has there ever been a legit moment where you felt like giving up?
Maybe every 3 hours.
Every 3 hours?
Because like you mentioned, right, it's a huge project. When so many humans come together, I think, it's something that is complicated, right? Yeah. But as we get better at this, I think the cadence is longer. And we are like what we like to call ourselves, we're a lot more 仔, right? So 大风大浪, okay, no problem. We like to think that, the boat that we were actually building before that was really just a paper boat, right? Now I think we're almost kind of a rubber kind of boat. So I think we are good to sail through very rough waters.
Actually, to dig a bit deeper, right? So Kim Underhill was here. She talked about how important it is to ask for help. And that a lot of, especially women in Singapore, they don't dare to ask for help. Do you encounter that?
Yes. Oh, definitely. I mean, in the first place, being in an Asian context, right? When you show your vulnerability, it means somebody else have that leeway to win you. So we are always taught, to be strong, cannot cry, we can't crack up. So I think that's given us a lot of pressure. So at Playpen, this is also something that we are trying to address, right? We have an upcoming International Women's Festival that we want to launch because we recognize that, together we are so much stronger. We are not only, trying to surface women leaders who are industry leaders. I'm sure that there's tons of them. We're looking for very purposeful woman leader who has done giving at scale, who have used their circle of influence and their expertise to really craft out a place to help the rest of us who's trying to make it there.
That's so nice. As a woman yourself, do you rely on other women as community?
All the time.
How important it is? I mean, I'm sure that there are young women that look up to you. Do you teach them that, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to ask for help? And are you an example for that? Do you think it's important?
Women these days are so smart, right? I don't even dare to use the word teach, right? Because every conversations that we share, I learn so much more in that conversation than anything. So although they always come and say, can you teach me something? I always feel that I don't have anything to teach, right? But I learn. And in the process, I think this exchange of conversation makes all of us that much better.
What are your goals for you personally and for Playpen?
Yeah, I think for me personally, right, this is my second week full-time at work at Playpen. I think Glass Dome is definitely a very special place. So we want to be very intentional about how we design this space together with all our partners. So I think we're going all out to make this really the next landmark of good.
I got an interesting question I forgot to ask. You see Gary every single day, 24/7, from Monday to Sunday. Have you ever been sick of him?
All the time. But the great thing about this guy is that he cracks you up.
Right, he does.
Yeah, he cracks you up, and he's so passionate about serving the community. It's hard to, not get infected.
Now, if I talk about Yvonne without Playpen or anything, how do you think you have surprised yourself in your personal growth this year?
I didn't think I could embrace play so well, at this stage in my life, right? Because we are taught to be very serious, right? We need to wear suits, when we go out for a formal function, right? But now I'm beginning to experiment with a lot of playful stuff. I go out in a suit and I wear like a big flower,
She goes out in like sparkling dresses.
Yeah, it's sparkling dresses, right? And just like how Playpen and Glass Dome, it's all experimental. I think it always starts with yourself. If you allow yourself to be playful and to find that purpose, that play and do good, then I think, this kind of thing will be a ripple effect like what you say, right? And it will radiate outwards, yeah.
That's so true. When you talk about purpose, do you think that what you are doing right now is your purpose?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people throughout their lives, they never ever find their purpose. And do you think you're lucky enough to have found yours?
Every day I pinch myself, like how did I end up in this very privileged spot? Yeah, so I would think that this is a life journey, right? I mean, it's a very purposeful one. I'm not sure what the final destination is, but just enjoy the view.
And if you can have one advice for someone who wants to, like you, challenge the unconventional in Singapore, what would it be?
I think if there's one thing I'm going to do, it's to continue playing with very good intentions of doing good. Yeah, because if we put these two energy together, then I think that, we have such a wonderful future ahead. Not only for ourselves, not only for our collective, but for a lot of people that will, come into our bandwidth. Yeah.
Right. I also think that's what Singaporeans are missing, right? Just I don't dare do anything. I don't dare to do good. I don't dare to play because the consequences are always very huge. So I think what you and Gary are doing is such an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to hundreds of people. And we just want to keep playing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. Thanks, Ian.